Thank you, Bill, for that introduction, and hello, everybody. And thank you to the Minneapolis Regional Chamber and Keystone Program Committee for inviting me to speak this afternoon. It's an honor to be part of this celebration today. Looking around the room, I see an extraordinary group of business leaders from organizations that make Minnesota a great place to live, work, and do business, and who, given today's turnout, don't let a little snow and sub-zero temperatures slow any of us down. No matter how varied our industry or business size, every company here shares the same fundamental belief about the importance of community. We recognize the power of shared value and know that stronger communities create stronger businesses. I'm proud to be part of a company that has a long-standing connection to Keystone, which has brought us all together under a common sense of responsibility for nearly 40 years. You are all likely familiar with how the Dayton family helped shape the culture of corporate philanthropy at Target and all across the city. Along with many of their peers in your companies, they established community involvement as an essential part of our business strategy. They knew that high-performing companies of all sizes have unique attributes that put them in a position to support the greater good. And they understood that vibrant communities are an essential foundation of long-term business growth. So I'm very pleased to join you in recognizing the investments everyone in this room makes to the vitality of our communities and in congratulating today's award recipients. But first, I'd like to talk about corporate responsibility in the context of business strengths and the unique attributes businesses bring that drive benefits well beyond our organizations. To begin with, if we were going to be credible, and certainly if we're going to be profitable, we have to run businesses that our customers and partners trust. That means clearly articulating a value proposition or purpose, consistently delivering what we promise, and being transparent about how we do it. To stay relevant in the marketplace, companies must also be responsive to their customers. When it comes to giving, that means more than showing up with a checkbook, particularly when you're in a consumer-facing business like retail. At Target, we have millions of people who visit our stores and interact in our digital channels every day. And we have nearly 375,000 team members around the globe. So, just by the nature of our business, we are very connected to what's going on in our local communities. That provides invaluable insight when we're trying to effectively allocate philanthropic dollars and volunteer hours or build working partnerships in the communities. In Target's case, we've committed to giving 5% of our profit, which today equals more than $4 million every week, to the communities where we do business. Education, the key social priority for our guests, is a big focus of that giving. And design is a signature strength of our brand. So, in the case of our school library makeover program, we go beyond giving grants, books, iPads, and volunteer hours. We bring the creative capabilities we've developed for our business to design spaces that are functional and inspirational. We believe that introducing a bit of fun and discovering into the educational environment makes it more likely that kids will want to learn. And we know how important that is for their academic achievement, which is foundational to a competitive workforce, informed consumer base, and strong economy in the years ahead. Although library makeovers may be unique to Target, the idea of applying our business strengths to support our communities certainly isn't. It's consistent with Midwestern traditions and the Minnesota ethos, which has been the subject of study or emulation by business leaders around the world. At Target, we've seen that this philosophy translates well into every new market we enter. Over the past 50 years, as we've built stores in new neighborhoods across the U.S., we've brought the same blend of business expertise and community involvement that the Dayton family first established as a one-store small business in Minnesota. We've also taken this approach outside the U.S. through our international giving program, to our headquarters location in India, our sourcing offices around the world, and most recently, our market entry into Canada. In each new location, we work to establish ourselves as committed and engaged business partners who are invested in responding to the particular needs of each community. So our engagement looks different depending upon the most prevalent needs in each area. In countries with mature education systems, we play a supporting role in funding activities like after-school programs for children. But in countries that lack a basic educational infrastructure, we fund scholarships and provide access to foundational learning opportunities. No matter where we go, we develop partnerships with organizations on the ground to understand the needs in the area and establish the networks that make our collective efforts come to life. This has definitely been the case over the last couple of years as we executed our first international retail expansion into Canada. Pre-entry research indicated that, although US guests care a lot about giving and corporate social responsibility, Canadians appreciate those values even more. But we knew that simply lifting and landing our US model wouldn't work. We approached the market with humility and listened carefully to our Canadian guests to design stores and merchandise assortments that meet their unique needs. And by asking Canadians what was most important to them, we developed a corporate responsibility approach that was relevant and would resonate. In Canada, as in the US, education is highly valued. But our research found that poverty is the top social concern by a significant margin. And Canadian guests told us that a local focus for corporate giving is extremely important to them. So even before we opened a single store, we began partnering with our local communities and engaging our guests and team members to help local food shelves, United Way and YMCA chapters, and social services agencies. As we continue to immerse ourselves in new neighborhoods, we keep listening to our guests and team members and adjusting our strategies based on their insights into local needs and priorities. Although a community focus is embedded in the way Minnesota companies have done business for more than 40 years, today's world is much different than it was when this group was formed. Today's consumers are much more connected. Digital capabilities have made everything more accessible, giving everyone the ability to link people, brands, and experiences instantaneously. The old adage said, if you received one letter from a happy customer, there were 10 letters of complaints right behind it. But when was the last time you actually sat down to write a letter? It's much easier to communicate by texting, tweeting, or posting on Facebook in response to products, services, and experiences. Consumers now have the tools and platforms to interact with our companies easily and more often, and share those encounters, good or bad, with their personal networks instantaneously. This constant connectivity presents an opportunities for companies to engage with the public and acknowledge, if not adopt, consumer feedback. Not surprisingly, these more personal interactions have increased public's expectations. They see corporate social responsibility as table stakes, the price of admission for doing business, not as something optional. That's particularly true with millennials, who never knew a time when giving and CSR weren't central to good business. And that makes transparency more important than ever. Consumers want to know not just what we're doing, but the how and the why. The convergence of digital and physical, consumer activity and advocacy had made it imperative for us to increase our visibility into our business. In our retail segment, we've made huge investments in price transparencies across all channels. This kind of seamlessness translates very naturally into other areas, including our corporate social responsibility goals. When we published our first community impact report in 1969, it explains what we had done after the fact. Today, we set goals based on stakeholder input, announce them publicly, and regular report progress so everyone can see what we're doing as we're doing it. Consumers increasingly expect to be included in that conversation, and they want to be a partner on the solution. Because Minnesota companies have a long history of collaborating with local partners to serve communities, I think we're well positioned to succeed at community engagement in this more connected world. We saw this in the fall with Give with Target, our campaign that invites guests to help Target allocate millions in cash grants to schools across the country. In just 4 weeks, more than 3 million people visited our Facebook page to vote for their favorite schools, leveraging our resources and platforms to direct dollars towards education in their communities. Looking ahead, I believe the work everyone in this room is doing will continue to set a high bar for Minnesota companies. We'll continuously find new ways to support our communities as only strong businesses can. We are so fortunate to have a rich history of corporate giving and a group of leaders exemplified by this year's award recipients who are committed to continuing this legacy. Together, we have the opportunity to inspire the work of Minnesota companies in the next 40 years and beyond. Thank you very much.